A man may delight in the vision and glory of a truth, and not himself be true. The man whose vision is weak, but who, as far as he sees, and desirous to see farther, does the thing he sees, is a true man. If a man knows what is and says it is not, his knowing does not make him less than a liar. The man who recognizes the truth of any human relation, and neglects the duty involved, is not a true man. The man who knows the laws of nature and does not heed them, the more he teaches them to others, the less he is a true man. But he may obey them all and be the falsest of men, because of far higher and closer duties which he neglects. The man who takes good care of himself, and none of his brother and sister, is false. A man may be a poet, aware of the highest truth of a thing, of that beauty which is the final cause of its existence. He may draw thence a notion of the creative loveliness that thought it out. He may be a man who would not tell a lie, or steal, or slander, and yet he may not be a true man, inasmuch as the essentials of manhood are not his aim, having no wise come to the flower of his own being, no wise in his higher degree attain the truth of a thing, namely, that for which he exists, the creational notion of him, neither is he striving after the same. There are relations closer than those of the facts around him, plainer than those that seem to bring the Maker nigh to him, which he is failing to see, or seeing fails to acknowledge, or acknowledging fails to fulfill. Man is man only in the doing of the truth, perfect man only in the doing of the highest truth, which is the fulfilling of his relation to his origin. But he has relations with his fellow man, closer infinitely than with any of the things around him, and to many a man far plainer than his relations with God. Now the nearer is plainer that he may step on it, and rise to the higher, till then the less plain. These relations make a large part of his being, are essential to his very existence, and spring from the very facts of the origination of his being. They are the relation of thought to thought, of being to being, of duty to duty. The very nature of a man depends upon or is one with these relations. They are truths, and the man is a true man as he fulfills them. Fulfilling them perfectly, he is himself a truth, a living truth. As regarded merely by the intellect, these relations are facts of man's nature. But that they are of man's nature makes them truths, and the fulfillments of them are duties. He is so constituted as to understand them at first more than he can love them, with the resulting advantage of having thereby the opportunity of choosing them purely because they are true. So doing, he chooses to love them, and is enabled to love them in the doing, which alone can truly reveal them to him, and make the loving of them possible. Then they cease to show themselves in the form of duties, and appear as they more truly are: absolute truths, essential realities, eternal delights. The man is a true man who chooses duty. He is a perfect man who at length never thinks of duty, who forgets the name of it. The duty of Jesus was the doing in lower forms than the perfect, that which he loved perfectly, and did perfectly in the highest forms also. Thus he fulfilled all righteousness. One who went to the truth by mere impulse would be a holy animal, not a true man. Relations, truths, duties are shown to the man a way beyond him, that he may choose them and be a child of God, choosing righteousness like him. Hence the whole sad victorious human tale, and the glory to be revealed. The moral philosopher who regards duties only as facts of his system, nay, even the man who rewards them as truths, essential realities of his humanity, but goes no farther, is essentially a liar, a man of untruth. He is a man indeed, but not a true man. He is a man in possibility, but not a real man yet. The recognition of these things is the imperative obligation to fulfill them. Not fulfilling these relations, the man is undoing the right of his own existence, destroying his raison d'etre, making of himself a monster, a live reason why he should not live, for nothing on those terms could ever have begun to be. His presence is a claim upon his Creator for destruction. The facts of human relation, then, are truths indeed, and of awfulest import. Whosoever hateth his brother is a murderer, and ye know that no murderer hath eternal life abiding in him. The man who lives a hunter after pleasure, not a laborer in the fields of duty, who thinks of himself as if he were alone on the earth, is in himself a lie. Instead of being the man he looks, the man he was made to be, he lives as the beasts seem to live, with this difference, I trust, that they are rising, while he, so far as he lies in himself, is sinking. But he cannot be allowed to sink beyond God's reach. Hence all the holy, that is, healing miseries that come upon him, of which he complains so hard and unfair, they are for the compelling of the truth he will not yield, a painful suasion to be himself, to be a truth. But suppose, for the sake of my progressive unfolding, that a man did everything required of him, fulfilled all the relations to his fellows of which I have been speaking, was toward them at least a true man, he would yet feel, doubtless would feel it the more, that something was lacking to him, lacking to his necessary well-being. Like a live flower, he would feel that he had not yet blossomed, and could not tell what the blossom ought to be. In this direction the words of the Lord point when he says to the youth, "If thou wouldst be perfect." The man whom I suppose would feel that his existence was not yet justified to itself, that the truth of his being and nature was not yet revealed to his consciousness. He would remain unsatisfied, and the cause would be that there was in him a relation, and that the deepest, closest, and strongest, which had not yet come into live fact, which had not yet become a truth in him, towards which he was not true, whereby his being remained untrue. He was not himself, was not ripened into the divine idea, which alone can content itself. A child with a child's heart, who does not even know that he has a father, yet misses him with his whole nature, even if not with his consciousness. This relation has not yet so far begun to be fulfilled in him, as that the coming blossom should send before it patience and hope enough to enable him to live by faith without sight. When the flower begins to come, the human plant begins to rejoice in the glory of God not yet revealed, the inheritance of the saints in light. With uplifted stem and forward-leaning bud, expects the hour when the lily of God's field shall know itself alive, with God himself for its heart and its atmosphere, the hour when God and the man shall be one, and all that God cares for shall be the man's. But again, I forget my progression. The highest truth to the intellect, the abstract truth, is the relation in which man stands to the source of his being, his will to the will whence it became a will, his love to the love that kindled his power to love, his intellect to the intellect that lighted his. If a man deal with these things only as things to be dealt with, as objects of thought, as ideas to be analyzed and arranged in their due order and right relation, he treats them as facts and not as truths, and is no better, probably much the worse for his converse with them, for he knows in a measure, and is false to all that is most worthy of his faithfulness. But when the body, or heart, or spirit, or what you please to call that which is in the man himself, and not his body, sooner or later becomes aware that he needs someone above him, whom to obey, in whom to rest, from whom to seek deliverance from what in himself is despicable, disappointing, unworthy even of his own interest, when he is aware of an opposition in him which is not harmony, that, while he hates it, there is yet present with him, and seeming to be himself, what sometimes he calls the old Adam, sometimes the flesh, sometimes his lower nature, sometimes his evil self, and sometimes recognizes as simply that part of his being where God is not, then indeed is the man in the region of truth, and beginning to become true in himself. Nor will it be long ere he discover that there is no part in him with which he would be at strife, so God were there, so that it were true, what it ought to be, in right relation to the whole. For by whatever name called, the old Adam, or antecedent horse, or dog, or tiger, it would then fulfill its part holily, intruding upon nothing, subject utterly to the rule of the higher. Horse, or dog, or tiger, it would be good horse, good dog, good tiger.